What's up, A to Z Sports Live on a Wednesday. Glad to have everybody along. Going to have another great show today. The last several weeks of Titans talk has been wild and fun and entertaining, and it will continue with Will Levis officially being named the Titans starting quarterback by head coach Mike Vrabel at his Tuesday press conference yesterday afternoon. So we'll hear from the head coach about what went into this decision, what this means for the football team, how excited everybody is that Will Levis is being named the starter, and that Mike Vrabel has stopped playing games with the fan base and with the media on who is and who isn't going to be the quarterback. We'll discuss all of that, what the Titans have ahead of them with Will Levis as the starting quarterback for the final 9 games of this season. And then we'll discuss what this means for Ryan Tannehill at the second half of the show. But Levis takes the keys, and then Sam, we will do our Wednesday sports trivia with our trivia grid later on in the show. But welcome in. I know you're kind of battling through a cold a little bit here, but you have not really talked about the Titans outside of Monday's, Titans at 2 segment. I feel like you've been more quiet than normal this week. I don't know. Maybe it's just a long time since the Steelers game on Friday, but it's been a bit. But Sam, hope you're doing well. We're going to have a good show today.
Yeah, mini bye, fighting through the cold, like you said, certain things, I would say I've been a little bit more quiet. So, it's going to be a good show. It's a good time to finally, break the streak and talk some Titans here because, like you said, it's time. Will Levis is the starting quarterback. And what does that mean for the Titans moving forward? We can finally start looking ahead to the rest of the season with the idea that number 8 is going to be the quarterback and what that means for the team. So a great conversation worth getting more people involved in. So if you're watching this morning, make sure you share the show. If you're watching on Facebook, hit the share button. If you're watching on YouTube, take the YouTube link. See, there we go. There's the voice.
2 minutes, 5 seconds.
We're gonna power through it here, though. If you're watching on YouTube, take that YouTube link, send it to a group chat, find a Titans fan in your life, or repost us on X at ATOZ Sports, and share the show before we go here on a Wednesday morning.
Yep, hit that like button, smash the like button. We need that because if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, those likes go a long way for us. But let's get it going officially. Welcome into A to Z Sports, powered as always by the BetMGM app. I'm Austin Stanley. He is Sam Phelan, our Titans reporter for A to Z Sports at atozsports.com. And we are Nashville's on-demand sports talk network, going live weekday mornings at 8 Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Links to the show segment by segment on our Twitter X timeline. Also hit us up on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads for more great Titans content. We got to thank our sponsors because they make it happen for us and they help out all of you, like Wilson County Hyundai. WilsonCountyHyundai.com is where to go to make them a part of your new car buying process. The Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Farm Bureau Health Plans, get better with Farm Bureau Health Plans at fbhp.com/ATOZ. The Aura app, keeping your information safe online, and get a 2-week free trial with our link only, aura.com/ATOZ. And Krebs Kubota, an elite Kubota dealer with 3 great locations in the Middle Tennessee area and online at KrebsKubota.com, Murfreesboro, Columbia, and in Franklin. So, Sam, let's discuss the Titans head coach Mike Vrabel finally doing what people thought he should have been doing over the last couple of press conferences, but coming out, and even before Teresa Walker got her first question, and Mike Vrabel just goes at heads and unloads and says, well, we've got some news.
So let me just kind of clear up some things here going forward. Will's going to be our quarterback. We're going to go with Will. We think that's the best opportunity for our football team right now, and see where he's at. I think Ryan will progress through here this week. I think and hopeful, to be a backup for us and prepare as a starter. But that's where we're at right now, and shared that with the team, and had a conversation with everybody involved. So that's what that'll look like. There'll be some moving parts along the offensive line, as we work our way through the week just with health. So won't be able to give you much insight there moving forward.
How did Ryan take the news when you had the conversation?
Well, again, I just a lot of respect for Ryan personally, professionally. We've won a lot of football games here with Ryan, and just was a professional. Certainly, disappointed. I'll keep that conversation between him and I and allow him to speak for himself.
Levis, the starter moving forward for now. There was a little bit of couching in there, and then maybe Ryan Tannehill can work back to be the backup, but prepare as a starter for the game on Sunday in Tampa against the Bucs. So, Sam, what was your initial takeaway from Vrabel just coming out and not even starting with a question, but just, hey, let's just get clear on this. We're going to go with Will Levis as a starting quarterback after all the crazy stuff that's happened the last 3 days.
It's about time. And I credit to Mike Vrabel for doing it when he did. I think there was an argument for like why he needed to wait as long as he did to make this move, but it was time. It was time, and everybody saw it both with Will Levis's production, with the way the Titans season was kind of spiraling under Ryan Tannehill's like being the quarterback, that they needed a spark from somewhere, and more than just a spark, they need to start thinking about the organization moving forward. Austin, I talked about it on my Titans at 2 show, but when I look at this, I look at where the Titans are in the AFC South right now. When I look at where they are in the AFC in general, sitting at 14th in the AFC, your path forward to making the playoffs this year is an uphill one that you are going to have to climb. I don't think it's an impossible one. I don't think that this is an insurmountable feat for the Titans, and I certainly think Will Levis gives them a better chance of doing that now that he's the starting quarterback. But you also have to think about the future of your team and the future of the state of the Titans organization. And it benefits the Titans tremendously to give Will Levis more playing time, more experience, both to develop him, to see exactly what he is. Like a guy like Mike Vrabel, right, has been slightly less optimistic and all in on the performance of Levis, like a lot of media and fans have been. Well, now we're going to get to see and really see how Will Levis responds. You can no longer just point to, it's been 2 games, which is what Vrabel has been doing to this point anytime he's been asked about Will's performance. Right, we're going to get to see him for over half a season. We're going to get to see him start, provided he's healthy, 11 games this year, which is a really good sample size for a rookie quarterback. It was time to make this move. This is best for the team now and in the future. And I think Titans fans can finally put the Ryan Tannehill era behind them in many ways. It was not fun having to look over your shoulder and be like, well, is Mike Vrabel still going to reverse Uno card on us and put 17 back at quarterback 1? We're turning the page. It's fresh. Let's go, Will Levis. That's where we're all at.
Yeah. And so, Sam, I'm going to ask you the question that me and Zach talked about on Monday of, do you think Mike Vrabel's criticism of Levis was fair or too critical? Because I said fair. Zach answered it by saying Vrabel is being like the army dad that never tells his son, I love you, that just continues to put him through drills and bark at him until he is no longer tired or thirsty.
I do side with Zach on that. I get it, right? Will Levis is a guy that like he can take some tough love. He can take criticism. He's a perfectionist and demands a lot of himself. And so a coach who, could watch him come off of a game and still criticize him, I think that's good for him in many ways. But there was a level of like, come on, man, let's be honest about what we're watching here. I saw the clip of the show yesterday where Zach was talking about Vrabel being asked how Will Levis played in Pittsburgh and going like,
I mean, I've got. It's
run
just
it.
a great clip.
Will played last night.
Again, when we lose, nobody did a good enough job. I think there was some good plays.
I mean, I was in the front row for that, Austin, and I was like, did he really just go, when asked about Will Levis's play? It has gotten a bit extreme in my eyes of like not giving the rookie enough of his flowers for what he has done. I don't know. I don't know if Vrabel was reluctant to make this move, if this is really just like a tough guy act that he's putting out there when he's really pretty high on his performance. I don't know where he sits on it. All I know is I'm excited to watch Will Levis take over at quarterback. And I think this gives the Titans the best chance to win both now and in the future. And I think that's an important piece of this. It's not just, all right, Ryan, we're going to go to Will because Will was the 33rd pick in the draft and we have to start developing him for the future. I legitimately think Will Levis makes the Titans better on offense right now than they were with Ryan Tannehill for a number of reasons. But, you know, that's a good sign for the rest of this year.
Yeah, for sure. So let's hear from Mike Vrabel on how Levis got the job. Tron Davenport asking, what did Will Levis do to earn this opportunity? And so here was the head coach on Tuesday.
What was it that Will did to make you?
Just where we're at right now. I think just just looking for something, and it was able. Again, I think that there's clearly something there. We want to be able to continue to work with them and progress and develop and win, and that's how you get better. You only get better by going out there and playing, especially at that position. So this will be a huge test for any quarterback going on the road in Tampa with what they're able to do, how well they're coached schematically, but also the players that they have, the pressure packages, the disguises that they're able to have, and as many turnovers as they've been able to create.
So I think this is a great response. And I think this is a very accurate sort of, like, this is exactly what Mike Vrabel's mentality should be. But I do think it sums up the situation very well, where he says, like, just where we're at, both now and in the future. And they need something. That is that spark that I talked about, where the Titans were kind of sleepwalking with Ryan Tannehill at quarterback. You threw Will Levis in there for that Falcons game in the Oilers uniforms, and Nissan Stadium was electrified. The Titans locker room was electrified. And there was this feeling of like, oh yeah, we're back. Like, look at this. Oh, look at our offense under Will Levis. That didn't necessarily carry over to Thursday night. You lost a tough game against a tough road opponent in Pittsburgh. But I think if you're Mike Vrabel right now, you know that you need a little bit more of a spark if you're going to win games this year. Will Levis gives you the best chance of doing that. And then, as he said, right, like, this is also about developing a young quarterback too for next season. And you can't do that with him inactive on game day like he was for the first 7 games of the year or whatever. Like, you need to have this guy taking snaps in the huddle. And will it always be pretty? No, but Will Levis is definitely going to be better for it when next season rolls around.
All right, Sam. So let's ask everybody in the comment section today. The Titans have 9 games left this season. Will Levis is going to be the starter for now, is kind of what Mike Vrabel said. But what will the Titans' record be in these last 9 games with Will Levis as the starting quarterback? What will the Titans' record be these last 9 games with Will Levis as the starting quarterback? Sam's throwing the schedule up there. Obviously, at Tampa, at Jacksonville, 2 games on the road. Would be great to win them all. Carolina, one of the worst teams. The Colts, the Dolphins, Texans twice outside of the Seahawks, and ending with the Jags. So how many games? What will the Titans' record be over the last 9 games, assuming Will Levis does start all 9 and stays healthy? So we'll get to all of your comments here in a second about the record over the last 9. But first, I'll tell you guys about our great sponsor, Aura, who is doing a fantastic job in protecting my information online. I signed up with Aura several months ago, over 6 months ago now, and they have kept me safe. They have kept data brokers out of my life by protecting my information and stripping my information away from 30 data brokers that Aura identified who are profiting from selling that info to spammers and telemarketers and robocallers. And I don't get those things anymore. They also help protect my passwords. So if I have a password that potentially gets leaked in a data breach, Aura lets me know with an app notification, hey, your such and such password might have been leaked. You should go change it. I say, okay, sweet, thanks. Go change it, move on with my life. Aura is fantastic with how many different features they have inside of one app to protect your information online. and you're going to get a 2-week free trial, but only if you use our link, aura.com/ATOZ. It's election year. It's going to get ramped up. You're going to get a bunch of texts and stuff that you don't want, right? Aura.com/ATOZ, 2-week free trial. Do it. Aura.com/ATOZ.
Today's show powered by BetMGM. Use the bonus code ATOZ Sports when you sign up with BetMGM in the BetMGM app and get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if that first bet misses. If you place your first wager with that bonus code, even if you lose, the money goes back into your account in the form of a bonus bet, and you get a second chance to win big. That's the best way to do sports betting when you get 2 chances to win big. So do it with BetMGM and BetMGM.com and use that bonus code ATOZ Sports.
All right, so make sure you like the show too. Big audience in here. We need more likes. We don't have nearly enough likes on both Facebook and YouTube, so we need more likes. So the question, Sam, I'm going to send you to the chat. What will the Titans' win-loss record be in the last 9 games with Will Levis as the starting quarterback, starting with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the road this upcoming Sunday? The Titans are 0-5 this season away from Nissan Stadium. They're 3-0 when they play at Nissan Stadium against the Chargers, the Bengals, and the Falcons. So, Sam, we can leave that schedule up there. What are the people saying on the win-loss record here?
Well, hey, first of all, I got to say, I need win-loss records of 9 games. We got a lot of
Is
season
math a problem?
Well, we got a lot of people doing like the season-long records, and while I
Okay.
appreciate that, I don't really feel like subtracting 3 and 5 from everybody's record here. So try and give me 1 out of 9 games. David says 1-8. Joe says 5-4. We have 6-3 from Orlando, 4-5 from Darren. We have 5-4 from Richard, 3-6, 6-3, 6-3, 6-3, 7-2, 4-5 is fair, says Zombie Creed, like 4-5, 5-4, 4-5, 8-1. Mr. Jones, typical, comes in at an 0-9. Jason says
Time out.
5-4.
Mr. Jones needs to be addressed. Mr. Jones, I understand that you are a massive Tennessee Vols fan. I absolutely understand that. But Mr. Jones, you have become nearly unbearable when it comes to your just inaccurate comments towards Will Levis. I did not think the Will Levis draft pick was smart. I have been proven wrong. Mr. Jones, you are currently being proven wrong, and get your act together, because I did see one of his comments earlier in the show. I thought about favoriting it for later, but I was like, you know what? I don't need to do it. But now that Mr. Jones has doubled down with another stupid comment as 0-9, earlier, Mr. Jones says, what production? Throwing a game-sealing, losing interception? Like any other quarterback wouldn't throw that similar interception with that game situation on the line from the 25-yard line with 11 seconds, and you got to have a touchdown type spot, right? Like, dude, give it a break. Like, stop being stubborn. Don't be the donkey over here hee-hawing while everybody else is trying to have a quality conversation. That's all. Now you can continue.
Ditto. I agree. We've been over it a couple times, but Will Levis is going to have to overcome a lot to prove a certain contingent of the Titans fan base wrong, or at least earn their support, because he's starting from well behind, a clean slate. So other records: 5-4, 4-5, 3-6, says Matt, 5-4 from Jared, 4-5 from Patrick, 6-3, says Chris, 4-4-1. Hello, ladies, throwing a tie in there. Absolutely love to see it. 5-4.
You never know, man.
Yeah. 5-4 from Nick, 6-3 from Justin, 5-4, 7-2. Anthony says 1-8 with the Panthers as the only victory. 6-3 from Jetstream, 6-3, 4-5, 3-6. Good variance. It feels like these 4-5 win answers that you see pouring in right now are the most popular, Austin. Was this easy for you? Like, did a number come to mind when you first looked at the schedule here?
No, I mean, when right before we went live, you pulled up the schedule graphic. I got to figure out what my answer. I was like, oh, yeah, I should probably do that too. So I quickly ran through it. I do it kind of how I felt my NCAA tournament bracket. You just go with your gut, right? You just, what's your instinct, right? And so I said, win over the Bucks, lost to the Jags, beat the Panthers, beat the Colts, lose the Dolphins, split with the Texans, split Seahawks Jags. So I came up with 5-4. I think 5-4 is the record there with the Tennessee Titans at the end of this season. I think, if you can win 3 out of the next 4, the Dolphins thing is interesting. The Dolphins have not beaten a team with a winning record yet. So if the Tennessee Titans can get themselves above 500 by the time they go to Miami, then hey, maybe you give yourself a chance to keep that streak going for Miami. But I said 5-4. If you can, if you can beat the Bucs, everything has to start with a win over Tampa. They are beatable. They have a terrible pass defense. CJ Stroud just lit them up. So if you can beat the Bucs, then I think you can go into Jacksonville with confidence that you can win that game too. But I said 5-4 for my official answer, which would put the Titans at a very
underwhelming
interesting
8-9
8-9 season. But that's an 8-9 season with your rookie quarterback going 6-5.
Yeah.
And now you don't need a quarterback.
6-5 without a playoff roster around
right.
it.
And so you're sitting here going like, okay, you're 8-9 and you're picking 16th overall in the draft, but that's probably fine because you don't need, you don't have to have, you would love to have, but you don't necessarily need a player that's a high level blue chip top 10 draft pick if you can win enough games with Levis. So 5-4, which would create 8-9.
I actually came up with 5-4 as well, because I agree with you in the sense of I look at the next 4. I think there could be 3 wins in this next 4. I think
there must be, honestly. There must be 3 wins,
and I think there will be. Yeah, I don't know if it's bad for me to go out and predict that. I know I've been the chronic optimist here of the Titans media core and show hosts here, but I think they beat Tampa, and the main thing is what you said, that pass defense. I am baffled. I have a lot of friends that are Buccaneers fans, and I speak with them on a weekly basis about how awful their pass defense is. They're like, why can we not play quarters without giving up 30-yard gains down the field? It's hilarious. I don't think they beat Jacksonville. I think Carolina's a game they're going to win. I think Indianapolis is a game they're going to win. They won't lose to Indy twice in the season, especially not at home. The most important game of the season, Austin, is Week 16 against Seattle.
Okay.
And the reason that game is the most important game of the season is I think they're going to win that second game with Jacksonville. And the reason why is I think Jacksonville is going to be in a position that they don't play any of their starters. They're probably going to run away with the AFC South and probably not be good enough to.
They're not going to be in number 1 seed.
Get the number 1 seed in the AFC. And so I think that they're probably in a spot that the Jags could lay down for you in Week 18. I think
could the Jags have the 2 seed locked up by Week 18?
Certainly. I certainly think that that's a possibility. In fact, I think it's kind of a realistic possibility that they're not really playing for anything come Week 18. So you take 3 of the next 4. You sit at 6-6. I think you'll lose to Miami because it's Miami and this defense is going to have a problem with Miami. But I think you beat the Texans at home. I think you can beat them in Nissan Stadium, more likely to do that than you are to beat them at NRG Stadium in Houston. You might be sitting at 7-7 with the Seahawks coming to Nashville. And that is the game that swings whether or not you're playing for something at the end of the year there against Jacksonville. Because if you're 8-8 for that Jacksonville game, you might have a possibility, and we've been over the tiebreaker scenarios a few times on this show, to win a tiebreaker, get into the playoffs, and see. That Seattle game is when I really think this season is going to come down to if the Titans want to have playoff hopes. Now, I still think this is a big uphill battle to get there. You're talking about them winning 4 of their next 6 games, beating a guy in CJ Stroud who has looked amazing thus far. even with a not very talented roster around him, and getting 3 of the next 4. Like your margin for error is now 0. But I would keep my eye on that Seattle game right now as a big turning point to potentially decide, Art, are you going to be a 7-8 win team that's just like, hey, optimistic for next year? Or do you have the ability to potentially sneak in with Will Levis as your quarterback?
And so, Sam, if you remember, I don't know which pregame or postgame show I said it around the Steelers game that I saw when the schedule came out in May. Oh, at Pittsburgh on primetime, that's probably a loss, right?
Yeah.
But when I saw Seattle traveling to Nashville, noon kickoff. So West Coast to Nashville, noon kickoff. That's 10 a.m. Seattle time
Yeah.
on Christmas Eve.
That is the Christmas
I
Eve game,
I
isn't it?
thought,
Yeah.
oh, the Titans can beat the Seahawks, who could be a better team than the Titans. And so those are kind of how the schedule quirks fall. And I was like, okay, negative for going at Pittsburgh on primetime, positive for getting Seattle on Christmas Eve, noon kickoff that late in the year. So I do find that interesting as well. So we're asking, and look, yeah,
Well,
Seattle is go ahead.
Well, yeah, it's funny because, right, Darren comes in and
Yeah.
says they're a decent team. Scott says they're very beatable. I think both are true because
Yeah,
this is a very
decent
good.
teams are beatable in the
Well,
NFL.
they're a very, I think they're a good team. Like they're a very solid team. I think they're actually very underrated, but they've also had the tendency here to put up a few stinkers, like just kind of not be competitive in games where they lost to the Rams. They got absolutely blown out and embarrassed by the Baltimore Ravens, a team the Titans played much more competitive than the Seahawks did. So they're a very good team. I think they're really underrated, and I will probably make the playoffs in the NFC because the NFC is pretty weak. But I wouldn't surprise me if making that trip on Christmas Eve, like you said, how you detailed it, results in the Seahawks coming out and not playing their best football.
All right, so we got a super chat that basically turns our conversation into like, what is the Titans ceiling? Like, if Sam, you and I both think 5-4 is the likely record the last 9 weeks with Levis at quarterback, what's the ceiling? So I'll get to that super chat. It's a good conversation that we'll get to. But first, Sam, tell everybody about the Bone and Joint Institute.
The Bone and Joint Institute, they're the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. They have a state-of-the-art rehab facility located out in Franklin to assist in your recovery. So don't fumble on your recovery. Go to boneandjointtn.org and schedule an appointment with them. Visit that facility where everything is all under one roof, from clinic to rehab to surgery, imaging, and testing. You don't have to drive all over Middle Tennessee to hit your different appointments. You just go to the Bone and Joint Institute in Franklin. It's a one-stop shop. You can get everything done all in one spot with good, reliable care from the best doctors in the area. So boneandjointtn.org. That's where you go to schedule an appointment with the Bone and Joint Institute, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care.
Sam, I told you before the show, my back's giving me a problem. I need to go see my friends at the.
Yeah.
I might have to set something up if this doesn't cooperate later this week. All right, but also BetMGM, you can always win big with our bonus code bet with BetMGM. That's ATOZ Sports. ATOZ Sports. When you sign up with the BetMGM app, you get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if with your first bet. So go big with that first bet. And you can do that with code ATOZ Sports. But also the NBA is back into action, and you can get NBA parlay insurance with what you want to do with the NBA. So you simply log in to your BetMGM app, and you can get bonus bets up to $25 with any NBA game parlay right there with the BetMGM app. So visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 or older, new customer offer and existing customer offer. Tennessee only. Also, first online money wager only. Rewards issued knowledgeable bonus bets. Bonus bets expire 7 days. And for problem game sport, call Tennessee Redline 800-889-9789. So back to the super chat that I wanted to get to, talking about, me and Sam both said 5-4 record for the Titans with Will Levis as the starter. Brandon has a super chat. We've got a couple super chats to get to. Brandon says, indulge me just a bit. What if the Titans beat the Jags in both appearances along with the other AFC rivals? So it kind of leads to what's the ceiling here, right? Because if you beat the Bucs, I think you can go into Jacksonville with confidence to beat the Jags. Like, you can play them well if you want. and find a way to win. And now all of a sudden you're 5-5 hosting the Carolina Panthers with a chance to get to 6-5. Then you host the Colts, who are probably struggling still, with a chance to get to 7-5. Right?
I mean, if you win the next 4, you're 7-5.
Yeah. But again, like I think that's what Brandon is saying, is that in this schedule, you beat the Bucks, and all of a sudden you have an opportunity that opens up. You beat the Jags, and now you probably have the 2 easiest games on the schedule back-to-back in Panthers Colts, both of them being at home.
Yeah.
So in that situation, I don't look, how likely is that? Probably not super likely. This team can win 4 games in a row when they haven't been able to win 2 in a row. But hey, the Jags got hot last year at this point with a young quarterback gaining confidence in Lawrence, and the defense can get its act together and be what we thought they could be. Like, it's not likely, but I agree with T. Shannon. The next 2 games are make or break. If you win both, then you got something.
So the question, I guess, that we were talking about is, what is their ceiling? I'm going to be honest. I don't see a world where the Titans beat the Jags in Jacksonville. I would have a really hard time seeing that happen. So I think when you talk about the ceiling of this team, right, I look at, let's pull the schedule up again. Like, I think Tampa, if you're talking ceiling, that's a win. I still think you lose to the Jags in Jacksonville. Carolina, Indianapolis, a win. I have a hard time seeing a world where you beat Miami in prime time with what that offense is, unless, right, like Tua goes down and you're dealing with a backup quarterback or whatever the situation is. I have a hard time seeing the Titans hanging with the Dolphins as well. So the absolute ceiling, I think, is 7-2 the rest of the way and 10-7. I think a realistic ceiling would be 9-8, going 6-3 the rest of the way. That's if a lot of these things go well and you're able to win a game against Jacksonville, you beat Seattle, you split with the Texans, and then you win the games you're supposed to win. So that would be split with Jacksonville, split with Houston, you lose to Miami, you beat everybody else. That puts you at 9-8, probably sneaks you into the playoffs at the back end of the AFC playoff picture. And what can you do at that point, right? Maybe the peak is winning 1 playoff game as an underdog and whatever. I don't know, but yeah. I have a really hard time seeing them beating Jacksonville on the road. Like you said, Austin, like, is it possible? Sure. You have to look at the schedule and say there's a lot of winnable games left on the schedule, but I also have to look at the Titans team that I've covered for the past calendar year at this point that is yet to win back-to-back football games. And that is 3-12 in their last 15. Mm-hmm. And I have to say the chances of them going on a run where they string 4 to 5 wins together, knowing that they are banged up, injuries are piling up now. It's really unlikely. I have a hard time seeing that scenario as realistic.
I'm going to play devil's advocate from what you're saying and going to go more towards, I accidentally moved the comment, the super chat that kind of got us going here. Ontario says, Sam, you sound like the people that said the Titans couldn't beat the Rams 2 years ago on Sunday Night Football, the week after Derrick Henry broke his foot. Look, that was a different Titans team.
Yeah.
But still, like, what happened in that game where the Titans were able to win is David Long got a turnover on the 1-yard line. They punched it in, Adrian Peterson touchdown, right? Throw back to that. Then you have Kevin Byard's pick 6. All of a sudden it's like 21-0, and the Titans just run the ball ineffectively, but effectively enough to just slaughter the Rams. And Jeff Simmons had a big night with 3 sacks and everything else there. So T. Shannon says, Sam, you said the same thing about Jacksonville last year.
Yeah, they didn't beat Jacksonville last year. Well, they didn't beat Jacksonville last year. So I'm trying to figure out what that comment means.
Yeah,
like,
I don't know.
They didn't. I said the same thing. They didn't beat them. So it was true last year.
I'm gonna go to the Jags schedule real quick because I mentioned I want to play devil's advocate. So the Jags are on a 5-game winning streak, right? They're 6-2. They beat the Colts in week 1, lost to the Chiefs, then they lost to the Texans. Remember, they gave up 37 points against the Texans at home in week 3. Since then, they've won 5 in a row. The teams they've beat are the Falcons, the Bills, the Sleepy Bills in London. Remember, the Sleepy Bills in London. They beat the Colts with Gardner Minshew. They beat the Saints, and they beat the Steelers. So, like, the Jags are 6-2, but like the Saints, the Colts, the Steelers, the Falcons, we've seen those teams play the Titans. And we've seen the Titans and Ryan Tannehill lose that game against the Saints when they should have won the game. We know that. We saw the Steelers thing, and that being primetime makes it different. We know what happened against the Colts. They just could not stop Zach Moss for whatever reason. And the Titans lost those games by 1 score. And the Jags, they won those games, some of them by 2 scores, some of them by 1 score. But like, it's not like the Jags are putting together like the ultimate resume. The best team they've beaten is the Bills, who are 5-4.
Yeah.
And now they play the Niners on Sunday,
That'll
who
be
are
a
on a
big game.
3-game
That'll be a
losing streak.
fun.
Are the
Yeah.
Niners going to lose 4 in a row?
I don't
think
know.
so.
I didn't think they would lose 2 in a row.
For sure. But now the Niners are coming off a bye week. And the Niners, I don't think are losing 4 in a row. I think the Niners can beat the Jags on Sunday. And can the Niners lose 4 in a row and the Jags win 6 in a row? Those are 2 things that usually don't happen with playoff teams in the NFL, of streaks like that. So something's going to give. Now, if the Titans beat the Bucks, you're right there, right? The Jags are 6-3, the Titans are 4-5, and you play each other the next week where you can even close that gap even more. So, like, it looks and feels like you're climbing a cliff, but a win in Tampa and a Niners win versus the Jags, you're kind of right back in this thing.
Yeah, you could still absolutely get back in this thing. I don't know. I wanna like base my expectations. This has been something that's gotten me in trouble before. It is basing my expectations on what the Titans are going to do based off of my opinion of the opponent, of being like, oh, well, that's not a very good team. Like, it's a winnable game. And sometimes I need to be like, well, yeah, but are the Titans a good team relative to that team? Like, what are the Titans going to do? Are they going to be able to protect their quarterback? I saw somebody else point out in the comments, like, hey, what does this defense look like? The Titans defense has been awful. And if Travis Etienne is healthy and Trevor Lawrence is at quarterback and they've got all those weapons down the field, is there a world that I see the Titans actually getting after Trevor Lawrence and making that a game that they don't get like diced up as a defense? And at home, yes. On the road, I still have a tough time. It will all very much depend. I'm probably going to absolutely change my tune on this if they come out and look awesome against the Bucks and you're rolling 4-5. And like you said, you've got that momentum going into Jacksonville. I just think the Jags are a better team, and we've seen it for the last year and a half now. The Jags are a better football team, and so I think the Titans still have a possibility for the season not to be over. I think the idea that they could realistically catch up to the Jags, beat the Jags multiple times, is a bit of a pipe dream for Titans fans right now.
All right, so I'm going to get some more super chats here in a second, but I did want to bring this up. The Jags only have 18 offensive touchdowns. Now, it's not like they're scoring a bunch of points either. Like, the Titans only have 13 offensive touchdowns, but we all think the Titans offense is like one of the most dreadful offenses in the league, and they can't, score in the red zone. But the Jags, like Trevor Lawrence, just 9 touchdowns and 4 picks in 8 games.
Yeah,
Like,
they run the ball. They've run the ball really well, though.
Yeah, Travis Etienne, they've run the ball really well. Travis Etienne's averaging 3.9 yards a carry. Derrick Henry's averaging 4.4 yards a carry.
I would have expected that number to be way higher.
But it's not. And so, like, again, like, they're playing the Falcons, they're playing the Colts, the Bills in London, Sleepy Bills, and they beat up on the Steelers when Kenny Pickett got hurt, right? Trubisky came in. So there's a lot of things that you look at and you're like, okay, that's interesting. That game's not it's not a loss for the Tennessee Titans. Again, like we've said several times, both of us, and you guys in the chat too. Beat the Bucks, see if the Niners can beat the Jags, and all of a sudden that game in Jacksonville in week 11 is kind of big.
Yeah, and I mean, I will say, like, coming into the year, my one concern about the Jags was how difficult their schedule was going to be. And you are going to start to see it here over the next 6 weeks or so, them really be tested and figure out what they are in the AFC. You mentioned the 49ers coming up this next week. Well, it's a game with the Titans, it's CJ Stroud and the Texans. Then it's the Bengals, the Browns, and the Ravens. 3 really good AFC North teams that are, fighting for those playoff spots. The Browns have a great defense. The Bengals look like an absolute wagon right now, and the Ravens might sneak to be the best team in football. Like, the Ravens are getting hotter and hotter as we go. So, yeah, as far as the strength of schedule is concerned for Jacksonville, it seems very backloaded when you look at it in hindsight and look at some of the teams they've beaten and then who's still on the schedule. Sure. Why not? Hey, I'm all for positive vibes. I am trying to be a little bit realistic. I'm trying to temper my expectations as well as the chats here, but I would much rather have this level of optimism than have the level of pessimism we had going into that Falcons game where people were like, nah, who cares? We're done. But that's the Will Levis effect, I guess.
It is. All right, more super chats coming up here in a second. But first, Krebs Kubota is your preferred equipment provider in Middle Tennessee. They have 3 amazing locations across the mid-state: Murfreesboro, Columbia, and Franklin. They are an elite Kubota dealer, which means they have the best equipment in the industry and the best warranties in the industry as well with that equipment. And Krebs Kubota, family owned and operated. They've been doing it for 18 years and have expanded their business because of how they treat their customers and build their relationships with you. The holiday season is approaching. It's always a great time to get that new piece of equipment, that bright orange Kubota equipment with a big red bow under the tree or in the driveway, whatever it might be for the holidays. So that's coming up there. A lot of great deals for you at KrebsKubota.com. And also, if you don't need to buy the equipment, no problem. You can rent it at Krebs Kubota for that weekend project, whatever it might be around your property. They can help you out and make it happen for you. Again, an elite Kubota dealer with 3 great locations in Middle Tennessee: Columbia, Franklin, and Murfreesboro. Their website, KrebsKubota.com.
Today's show powered by BetMGM. Use the bonus code ATOZ Sports when you sign up with BetMGM. Get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. Whatever that amount is you place your first wager in, you get that money back in your account in the form of a bonus bet. With BetMGM, if you use the bonus code ATOZ Sports, that's a second chance to win big on NFL, on college football, or on college basketball. We are back with college basketball. The Illini are rolling, by the way. So place those bets with the bonus code ATOZ Sports on the king of sportsbooks, BetMGM, and BetMGM.com.
All right, so I want to get to some super chats because we've got some about like how Mike Vrabel made the decision to make Will Levis a starting quarterback. So let's replay the clip from Vrabel when he was asked, like, what did Will Levis do to get this opportunity and win the job right now for the Titans?
What was it that Will did to make you?
Just where we're at right now. I think just looking for something, and it was able. Again, I think that there's clearly something there. We want to be able to continue to work with them and progress and develop and win, and that's how you get better. You only get better by going out there and playing, especially at that position. So this will be a huge test for any quarterback going on the road in Tampa with what they're able to do, how well they're coached schematically, but also the players that they have, the pressure packages, the disguises that they're able to have, and as many turnovers as they've been able to create.
So there's Mike Vrabel on how and why what Will Levis did. And I thought the most intriguing aspect of his answer, Sam, was when he goes, there's clearly something there. And then looked at Tehran and kind of like moved his eyebrows a little bit. Like, there's clearly something there, And he gave his little Robert De Niro face. And I thought, okay, that like body language and there's clearly something there. I think is a lot bigger than what it sounds like when you just hear it. Do you agree?
What do you mean by that?
When Mike Vrabel says there's clearly something there, but then he adds the little body language motion, I think, oh, he's like, yeah, I think that was
Run it back
big,
one more time. I haven't seen that. I want to see the look you're talking about real
all right.
quick.
It's when after he says there's clearly something there. He looks to Tehran, who asked the question, and goes with his little Robert De Niro face.
What was it that Will did to make you?
Just where we're at right now. I think just looking for something, and it was able. Again, I think that there's clearly something there. We want to be able to continue to.
Yeah, his little nod. I think. I don't know. I feel like this goes back to the conversation we had earlier about is this some tough love from Mike Vrabel? I think this is maybe a little bit of him just being having his criticisms of how he's played, being I don't like that decision, don't love that, and yet the results say your offense has been pretty good and looked pretty good. He's there's something there, he's doing something right, and so I don't. That might be Mike Vrabel not really having an explanation exactly for what all Will Levis is doing that provides the Titans with a spark, because he does have some criticisms of his decision making and things like that. But you have to acknowledge the fact that, well, the guy threw 4 touchdowns, so obviously something is going well.
Yeah, there's something there, right? And and you followed up and continue to say the only way to continue to develop it is to get out there and play. That's how you get better. Connor says the media was asking questions to set Vrabel up to compliment Levis. He didn't praise him one time. Why won't he publicly give him props? It's odd. And that is true. You guys as a media corps over the last 2 games and all the different press conferences have kind of up on a platter, hey, Mike, tell us some things that Will did really well. And then it's well, you can't throw into cover 2.
Well, he commanded the huddle really well.
Yeah.
He had great operations at the line of scrimmage. It's
right.
Well, what about the 4 touchdown passes that he threw over the top of the defense? Yeah, well, I would just say great poise to really go out and command our operation. It's we're say something about the arm talent. Say something about
he was not going to give you the clip. He was not going to get, because he knows, and this is what I think, he knows that if he answers Derrick Henry answers, oh, he out there balling, wasn't he? He knows that NFL Network, ESPN, Fox Sports 1, all of these national shows are going to clip that 5 seconds of Derrick Henry going, he out there balling, isn't he? And Mike Vrabel didn't want any part of that. So Andre says waiting this long doesn't deserve credit. He created unnecessary drama, just like he doesn't have the sense to play Radens while the others suck. The Dylan Radens topic is a different conversation, but
I do agree with Andre in the sense that Will Levis, they had him inactive. For what reason? I don't know. Mike Vrabel would tell you, oh, well, we didn't feel like he was ready to play in the games because he missed preseason time, missed training camp time. Titans players would tell you, we've seen a lot of this in practice. We've seen him going deep in practice and on scout team and seen the arm talent, known what he was capable of. So I absolutely think there's a question of why the heck did the coaching staff not see what Will Levis could do? Were they blind to it? Did they know about it and they were just too stubborn because of a loyalty to Ryan Tannehill? What took so long that, number one, it took him 7 weeks or whatever it was to even be active on game day? And then number two, that through 2 starts and all of this positive publicity, that you still had to wait till the very last moment to be okay, he's our starter, fine. I do think there's some criticism that can go on the Titans coaching staff that way. It's and as we talk about the rest of this team, or the rest of the season for this team, if you look at, what is the Titans ceiling with Will Levis, if they do end up winning some games down the stretch here and having a relatively positive end of the season, it's going to be hard not to be Or where the hell was that through the first 6 games? Where was why didn't you play this guy? I
And
think those are
I think
valid questions.
I think it's very simple though. And you go back to how the Tennessee Titans and Mike Vrabel handled Marcus Mariota and Ryan Tannehill. There's a lot of similarities there. Marcus Mariota was in the 5th-year option of his rookie contract. So he was making $21 million of cash in 2019. Ryan Tannehill was being paid by the Dolphins, but playing for the Titans, and Tannehill was the backup. In training camp, you saw Tannehill can fling it. Like, he looks healthy. He looks rejuvenated, right? But they're going to give Marcus Mariota every opportunity because he was the 2nd overall pick. He's making 5th-year option money, and there's no reason yet to pull him until there was. And with Ryan Tannehill going into this season, he's making $27 million in cash. He's $36 million against the cap. It's run it back. Derrick Henry, DeAndre Hopkins, Chig 2nd year, Burke 2nd year. There's a lot of this, like, there's no reason to take him off until there is. And and then with Levis, like, why did it take 7 weeks to make him the backup? Because he got hurt in the middle of August.
So I saw somebody make that comment. I talked to Will Levis week 1. He wasn't hurt anymore.
I know that he wasn't, but he missed his opportunity to win the backup job by getting hurt. The best ability is availability. And when you're unavailable, you can't win jobs.
Did Malik Willis win that job?
No. Will Levis lost it by being unavailable. That's as easy as it gets. And
once he's available throughout practice weeks, once he's lighting it up on scout team,
there was no reason, there was no event that the Tennessee Titans can justify flipping Malik and Levis.
Sure there is. Malik's bad. Will is good. There's your justification.
It's a public protection, though. That is my point. Like,
public protection might have cost you a football game when Malik is the one forced to go in there and back up Ryan Tannehill.
They want to make sure that they don't lose Malik completely. And it's very similar to how Vrabel handled Tannehill and Mariota in how he's handled Tannehill, Malik, and Levis. There had to be 2 events to happen for Levis to be number 1.
True.
Because of the injury, right? It's the injury in August.
I don't know about. I think
if Will Levis does not get hurt in August in Minnesota joint practices, I feel confident that he beats out Malik for the 2nd quarterback job. He was already on the path to doing that. And then he couldn't practice for a week and a half, and he couldn't play in preseason games.
I understand that he missed that time, but he was healthy week 1 of the regular season. Like, I spoke to Will Levis in the locker room, was like, hey, how are we feeling? It was not injury related. He felt fine. He was full go.
But you're also rewarding Malik for doing the preparation and being available to be the backup. Like, that's just what it is.
Maybe for like the first week or whatever, but why does it take 2 months to get him active on game day?
Because there was no evidence to make the change otherwise.
According to the Titans players, there is evidence.
Yeah, but again, I just know how they're going to work. They're not going to make a decision until when they don't
understand. I get that. I understand that that's like the thought process. I think it's
you disagree.
I think it's a flawed thought process. I think, if you had plenty of reason to believe Will was going to be good in a real game, which Titans players did by what they saw from him on scout team and practice, I don't see why that wasn't enough to be like, hey, maybe this guy should be active on game day. He gives us a better chance to win.
But and that did not occur until Tannehill got hurt. Ryan Tannehill hurting his ankle created all of this. If Ryan Tannehill did not get hurt in the second half in London, Ryan Tannehill would have been the starter the last 2 weeks.
True. I agree with that, which shows, again, flawed thought process because this is what Will Levis is doing now.
But Marcus Mariota was the starter.
Just because you don't have a reason to make a change.
But that's what they did in 2019. Is that they waited
until in 2019, and they probably win more games if Ryan Tannehill is the quarterback sooner.
Yeah,
Like,
but there's like the level of investment that goes into it as well, right? It's the level of investment, and again, let's play this from Mike Vrabel on Mike Vrabel being asked, "How did Ryan Tannehill handle the news?"
How did Ryan take the news when you had the conversation?
Well, again, I just a lot of respect for Ryan, personally, professionally. You know, we've won a lot of football games here with Ryan, and you know, just was a professional. You know, certainly, disappointed. I'll keep that conversation between him and I, and allow him to speak for himself.
There is a level of respect and affinity that Mike Vrabel has for Ryan Tannehill, and it's probably a two-way street. So that's where I believe that Ryan Tannehill was going to get the opportunity to start until he was physically not able to. And then since the injury, and hell, even the way Mike Vrabel said Levis is the starter, he had some hedges on his words.
So let me just kind of clear up some things here going forward. Will's going to be our quarterback. We're gonna go with Will. We think that's the best opportunity for our football team right now, and see where he's at. I think Ryan will progress through here this week. I think, and hopeful, to be a backup for us and prepare as a starter. But that's where we're at right now, and shared that with the team. And
we're at right now twice, and that Ryan Tannehill, I think, will be healthy enough to be a start or a backup. Tannehill's still not healthy enough to be the starter. So that's where I believe they're at right now, is that, it's still a lot of couching on Tannehill being around later in the season.
yeah, I mean, he's your insurance policy at this point, where if something were to happen to Will Levis, if things for whatever reason turn horribly on their head and start playing really bad, you reserve the right to potentially play Ryan later. I'm not sure you would ever do that, because I think if Will is bad enough to get you to that point, you're probably losing games. And at that point, like, what's the point of playing Ryan Tannehill anyway? I fundamentally,
like I said, week 11, if the Titans are out of it by the time they play at Jacksonville week 11, I think, healthy Tannehill or not, it's time to move on to somebody else. It happened 4 weeks earlier because of the injury.
Yeah. I fundamentally disagree with the chat on a lot of this stuff. I don't have the voice in me to fight him too much about it. It's not a matter of me not being here in 2019. It's not a matter of anything. And I don't know. I think the chat's a little bit misguided in their opinion here. If you don't believe scout team and practice is enough to show somebody that you can play, I think you don't understand what an NFL practice entails and what NFL scout team entails, because missing those reps or missing in-game reps is not a deciding factor about whether or not a quarterback can play. And so somebody says, well, he has to earn it. You are able to earn things in practice, by the way, just in case anybody was curious about how that works.
And he did, right? And his practice earned him the start. Remember, Ryan Tannehill has started 6 games. Levis has started 2. Malik has started 0. So as soon as there was a change at the starter, it was Levis, not Malik. It's not like they went Malik, Gap, and then Levis. So they did. So clearly they saw enough in those scout teams to make him a starter when Tannehill went down. It was just, there was no purpose or anything that they could not publicly justify the move to make Will Levis 2 and Malik 3.
It's soft. It's just softness of being oh, we have to protect Malik's feelings. We have to make sure he doesn't feel bad about himself publicly because we make him the third string.
But Sam, you have to treat quarterbacks like that. You do
no,
have
you
to.
Don't. Not when
Yes,
it comes down to a potential game that you've invested in Will Levis. You've invested in Will Levis. He is your guy. It's not a secret. It wasn't a secret coming into the year. He was your guy over Malik. And so not making the move that's right for the football team, which is Will Levis being the backup earlier, being active on game day and potentially getting opportunities in games, not doing that earlier, which would have been better for your team, in the name of, well, how do we justify this publicly to protect Malik's feelings? is soft. It's
No,
dumb.
but
I
it's
disagree
something
with
to.
it.
But Tannehill was healthy, and there was no signs that he wouldn't be healthy until he got rolled up on in a spot. And
It's not about Tannehill being
It is.
healthy or not healthy. It's about which backup quarterback gave you the best chance to win,
Right.
should you need them, and which young quarterback had the better chance of being your guy moving forward. So
let's move forward because I think we're spinning our wheels just like the Patriots organization that me and Zach talked about yesterday. All right, so I have a super chat, a comment from a pessimistic person who is trying to change his ways. So we're gonna get to that here in a second. But first, Farm Bureau Health Plans can help you out with your health coverage and make sure that you have the right health plan for you. A lot of times we just forget about our health plans and they're an autopilot. You pay them, you don't think about the coverage until you need it. And then you look at, God, I'm paying a lot for this health coverage, and it's really not that great. Well, Farm Bureau Health Plans can change that for you. We're about to enter the open enrollment season for a lot of you guys out there, and Farm Bureau Health Plans can help you get right with your health plan instead of doing what you have been doing and get it out of autopilot for a second and then let Farm Bureau Health Plans take over. It's so easy. A health assessment's how you get started. Their website's easy to navigate, fbhp.com/ATOZ. They have 200 plus locations across the entire state. They've served Tennesseans for over 75 years and truly know how to help you out. They're great partners of the Tennessee Titans, also Tennessee Vols, and a lot of high schools are out across the state as well. Farm Bureau Health Plans, get started with at fbhp.com/ATOZ.
today's show powered by BetMGM. Use the bonus code ATOZ Sports. You can get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. That's a second chance to win big, up to $1,500. Whatever that amount is you place your first bet under, you can get that back in the form of a bonus bet when you sign up with BetMGM and the bonus code ATOZ Sports. The king of sports books for a reason, 2 chances to win big. That's the best way to do sports betting at BetMGM and BetMGM.com.
All right, so let's see. We got somebody who's typically pessimistic that is being optimistic in the chat. Kane, super chat. Here we are. I hope the organization doesn't ruin Levis like they did Mariota. I'll buy in. I'm trying to be optimistic.
Let's go.
There you go, Kane. Just try to think positive until you don't have to anymore.
Let's
There's no
go.
reason to be negative. Let's try to be excited. There is a new era of explosive offense for Titans football with behind the jacked biceps of Will Levis. And Kane is trying to be optimistic.
You know what?
Did the Tennessee Titans ruin Marcus Mariota? I don't want to dive too deep into that, but no, I don't think they did.
So.
I think Marcus Mariota had a brutal leg injury and was never the same after that. And, you know, he couldn't stay healthy, and that wasn't the organization's fault overall.
Hey, you know what? I got to say, the Titans might be able to beat Jacksonville in Jacksonville. I might have to, but if Will Levis and the Titans can convert Kane, they're capable of anything. So we're riding high right now.
There you go. Mike Sanders jumps in and says, best thing the Titans can do is keep Tannehill as a QB2 and sign him for 2 years and really let Levis get that in-game development. Like I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think Ryan Tannehill would want to do that. I think Ryan Tannehill, look, there's a lot of teams right now who are, hurting at quarterback that Ryan Tannehill would be an upgrade for. So he will go somewhere else to try to get a starting spot and more money than what the Titans will be willing to pay him as a backup.
He's going to go do an Andy Dalton where he goes to a spot where he's probably a backup with an opportunity to play if needed, or at least compete for a job
He'll probably sign with a team that will likely draft the quarterback, and then Tannehill might start the first month, and then the backup comes in.
Or draft a quarterback not in the first round, not like a blue chip quarterback, right? Like a team that drafts that round 2, round 3 quarterback that they're like, hey, maybe, and they might just have a year of bridge where it's like Tannehill versus, Desmond Ridder.
What the hell are the Falcons going to be? Bingo, like Falcons, right? Great example. Danny comes in with a super chat based off of something I said, 30 minutes ago at this point. The Titans need that high-level blue chip draft pick on the offensive line ASAP. And so I mentioned that, when Sam and I both thought that Levis can take the Titans to 5-4 the last 9 games, that would put the Titans at 8-9, which would have them being picked middle of the draft. I said they don't need, it's not a must-have for a blue chip prospect because you figured out that your quarterback's got something. But, you want the best type of player. And so I get what Danny's saying. And yes, they need a blue chip prospect on the offensive line, but not to kind of ruin my half-baked offseason plan. You got $90 million of cap that you need to spend. And I think you could do that with veteran O-linemen who can help quicker than a rookie O-lineman.
Yeah, I mean, we did a well, I guess we're working on it right now. It hasn't come out just yet. A to Z Sports is doing a company-wide NFL mock draft. I was in the position to draft for the Tennessee Titans. I will tell you, I did not draft an offensive lineman, and it was it's all situational for me. It depends on where you're picking. I was in a spot looking at the draft board and looking at my best players available. I would have had to go very far down my draft board to pick an offensive lineman. Instead, I took who I believe to be the best player available at a position of need for the Titans.
Tease.
Yeah, good tease, but it was not an O-lineman. And I think that explains situation this team is in where they have quite a few needs. So
yeah, for sure. All right. So Sam, a lot of conversation today about Will Levis officially being the starting quarterback. We still have tons to get to throughout the week. And me and you, we'll be doing Titan Game Day Live from our homes for Titans Bucks coming up on Sunday. So get ready for that. Titan Game Day Live. It's Levis's third start, but really the first start of the future, right? So thanks to all of our partners and friends with Titan Game Day Live this season for what we're going to be doing on Sunday, pregame, halftime, and postgame show. Sam, are you ready for our trivia grid?
Yeah, let me get it. Yeah, I'm ready to go. Let's do it.
Let's do it. At Wilson County Hyundai, make them a part of your new car buying process by seeing our friend Payne Bone and his team in Lebanon or online at Wilson County Hyundai. It is time now for our trivia grid, Sam. Let's get this thing rolling. There we go. Now transition. All right.
You need to tighten it up a little bit. Here we go.
All right. Cool? So we've got our 9 boxes here for our trivia. I'll pick the first category, and then chat, if you guys want to pick a second category, you can give your opinions on the category after the first. I'm going to start with history.
Ooh. History to start. Born in Argentina and living from 1928 to 1967, this Marxist revolutionary author and guerrilla leader. I don't know why I did that.
You okay?
Yeah, was a major figure during the Cuban Revolution.
Holy crap, I have no idea.
Argentina from 28 to 67. Wow, we got chat is coming in hot here. Look at Matt and Jay and Justin. Che Guevara.
Sure. Sounds great.
Guevara. Hey, it is Guevara. I was right. Boom. Okay, chat. Hey, Matt, Jay, and Justin. That is a hats off performance right there, getting it that quickly.
That was fast. Very fast.
That was nice. And I've never even heard of him. And I usually do pretty well at history categories. So
all right. Jeff says he wants to go with snacks and candy next.
Snacks and candy next. This brand of Frito-Lay chips comes in a yellow bag with its name on the bag in green letters and comes in flamin' hot and spicy queso varieties. I have an idea here. But it doesn't seem like it would be right.
What's your idea?
Is it Funyuns?
Yeah, I think because it's not Cheetos. Cheetos don't have green letters.
Yeah, Cheetos don't have green.
Cheetos.
Orlando says Ruffles, but that's the blue bag. Funyuns is the yellow bag with the green writing. But I've never heard of flamin' hot or spicy queso Funyuns. What the?
I haven't either, but maybe I should.
I mean, that's the only thing I can think of that's yellow with green writing on it.
Same.
All right. Well,
Are you thumbs up or thumbs down on Funyuns?
I don't know if I've ever even had a Funyun, to be honest with you. But that chat seems to back my idea, so we're going to go with it, and it is right.
I think Funyuns are something that are great in the moment, but like the aftertaste, you're just like, I probably shouldn't have had those Funyuns.
Literally don't know if I've ever had a Funyun. It freaks me out like I don't know.
I'm kind of craving Funyuns
It's
right now.
like those veggie straw things.
I
Like
do love some veggie straws.
they're okay. Like they're actually pretty solid. But then sometimes I'm like, why would I mix chip and vegetable? Like I'm just
because it's healthier than the alternative.
Oh, true. But then yeah, I don't know. I'm
Give
not
me
a big
some
chip
air
guy,
fried like
so-
green bean chips instead of like nasty greasy potatoes.
There are really only 2 chips that I can do. Number 1 is a good classic Frito. I love a Frito. And 2, chat, we already know it is El Ranchero tortilla chips.
I had
The El
over the week-
Ranchero. Hey, people have never been disappointed.
I'm not a big chip person anymore. Used to be, but over the weekend, busy moving errands, had to do a quick lunch and got the Miss Vicky's is always great. The spicy pickle chips from Miss Vicky's are
I
insanely
take that
good.
back. You just reminded me. I think my favorite potato chip has to be the Cape Cod. Those things,
Those
the
are good
Cape
too.
Cod, I could down a bunch of. All right, let's go to sports. Which sports do you want?
Let's go college basketball.
This 6'6" Venezuelan point guard played at Maryland from 06 to 2010, was a 3-time All-ACC and consensus All-American, and the 2010 ACC Player of the Year. I do know who this is.
You do? Give me a
I
second.
do.
Venezuelan point guard from Maryland in that era.
Yeah.
I am losing. I think Vasquez is what the chat's coming in.
Yeah, it's Toronto Raptor, former Memphis Grizzly, as Darius points out, it is Grievous Vasquez.
Man, that's a good one. That's a good pull from the chat.
Love me some Grievous Vasquez. Ooh.
Oh my goodness. All right, Sam, let's go tic-tac-toe with music here.
All right, let's do it. What rapper broke out in the 2010 with top 10 hits such as Black and Yellow, Young, Wild and Free, and No Sleep? Easy money. Easy money. You know what it is. Black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow.
Let's
I'll
let the
give Chad
catch up. Yeah,
I'll give him a chance here. Yeah. I mean, they're going to be all over it. They are.
Wiz Khalifa. Man,
Wiz
those were
Khalifa.
Yeah. That was a fun little era. All right, let's go celebrity mashup right here in the center.
All right. Ooh, let's see what we got here. Oh
my.
All right, I think I've got the inside.
Okay, hold on.
Oh man.
This is
Is the outside is that Johnny Depp on the outside?
I don't think so. I feel like the outside could be like 5 different people. Is Salma Hayek's in the
I think
middle, right?
Salma Hayek is the inside. So I think Tones is right on that. That was the name that came to mind for me. That looks like Salma Hayek on the inside for me. And is that Johnny Depp on the outside?
That could be so many people. Some people are saying Hillary Clinton, which if people are confusing Hillary Clinton and Salma Hayek, that is
No, they might be confusing Hillary Clinton and Johnny Depp here. I don't know.
Kate Winslet would be good too, right? Like I could see the inside.
Oh, I could also see Kate Winslet there. That might be Kate Winslet now. Now I'm in my head about that.
Hugh Grant, Michael Douglas.
Michael
this is the
Douglas
hardest one we've ever had.
I don't think it. I don't know. This is a good. It's good because there's a couple names that I have in my head.
Winona Ryder too.
I might have changed my mind to that being Kate Winslet on the inside now.
What about Robert Downey Jr.? Cillian Murphy? Oh man.
I don't think that's Cillian Murphy.
That's
It's
not
definitely
Salma Hayek.
It's definitely not Robert Downey Jr. I don't think.
Not Matthew Perry.
It's not Matthew Perry. Is it Salma Hayek or
I don't think it's
or
Salma
is it
Hayek.
Kate Winslet?
I think it's Kate Winslet.
I think it is too. All right, I'm going to make an executive decision here. Now, I don't think it's Sean Penn either. I'm going to say,
Zoom out a little bit.
I don't know who Zach Braff is at all. I've seen that comment a couple times.
It could also be Ashley Judd. Like the middle of the person.
No, I don't think it's I don't know. I think it's got to be one of those two.
David says Rose Byrne. I don't know who that is.
Willem Dafoe is not bad.
It's not old enough to be Willem Dafoe.
All right. I'm going to say Kate Winslet. And
Penelope, that could be Penelope Cruz too.
I'm going to say, no, I see the facial structure looks like Kate Winslet. I'm going to be mad if it's Salma Hayek because that was my first reaction. I'm going to say Kate Winslet, and I think this is Johnny Depp.
Okay.
All right. Wrong. No. Both were wrong.
Oh, no.
Both answers were wrong. All right. We're going to have to circle back and probably double dip on it at the end. So we'll come back to it. We will come back to it.
Zoom, yeah. Damn. We need a layup. Let's go MLB.
MLB. Yeah. After winning his third World Series with the Giants, Pablo Sandoval signed a 5-year, $95 million deal with what American League team before the 2015 season? I got it. Let's see what the chat's got here. I'm very good at free agency questions. I remember where dudes signed their contracts at.
Red Sox.
Yep. Jay, Brent, already on it with the Boston Red Sox. Yeah, that is who gave Pablo his big deal, and it did not work out for Boston at all. But yeah, he got a big deal from the Red Sox. All right. Where are we going next?
TV.
Martin Sheen, Allison Janney, and Rob Lowe all earned Emmy nominations for their roles in this NBC series political drama that ran from 99 to 06. Is this West Wing? The Newsroom? It's got to be one of those two.
It's not Newsroom.
Then I think it's probably the West Wing, right?
Yeah, West Wing. David came in pretty quick. Yeah, the West Wing.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure, but yeah, we'll see how they list it. I'll just put, the West Wing. There it is. Right. Boom. There we go.
Movies.
Somehow I got an early 2000s TV question.
I
whatever. This actor, part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, starred in 4 movies released nationwide in 2012, including The Cabin in the Woods, Red Dawn, Snow White, and The Huntsman. I know this because of Red Dawn. Red Dawn. Red Dawn, the remake of Red Dawn, was a great remake.
We're getting Kevin says Chris Hemsworth, Scott says Hemsworth, Nathaniel Hemsworth. We're getting a bunch of Thors, so that would be Chris Hemsworth.
It is Chris Hemsworth. He was in the Red Dawn remake.
All right,
and it was a tremendous
NFL.
So then we got to circle back. Wisden Hunt led what team to a Super Bowl in the 2000s? That's a layup.
Yeah, you can go ahead and go Arizona Cardinals on this because we got to get back to this celebrity mashup.
All right, we'll go Arizona Cardinals. Yes, we want to double dip. Yes, we're on this. All right, so I think we have to go with Salma Hayek now.
No, everybody's been saying Rose Byrne.
Who is Rose Byrne?
I don't know, but that's what everybody is saying. That Rose Byrne has to be it. Then we've gotten some Al Pacinos.
It's a Al Pacino for that inside. It's not Jessica Alba on the inside.
We're not going to. Hugh Grant, Cillian Trey is very strong.
All right, Han, let's do it this way. Han, let's do it this way. Time out. Everybody in chat, which woman do you think is on the inside? I think the most popular 2 answers are Salma Hayek and Rose Byrne right now. I think it's Salma Hayek. But we're going to go with majority here. So just don't put any men. Just put the woman right now. Rose Byrne or Salma Hayek, and we'll see.
The Rose Byrne answers are so confident. Like 100% Rose Byrne. Rose Byrne, damn it. Rose Byrne, 3 exclamation marks. 100% Rose Byrne.
All right. Oh, gosh. I don't know who Rose Byrne... it looks like I agree here with... Where's the comment? Patrick, it looks like her eyes. It looks like her eyes to me. Salma Hayek's eyes. I don't know who Rose Byrne is, though. So,
yeah, I think we have to go with Rose Byrne.
All right. Who is the guy we want to roll with on the outside? Who is this outside here? I'm trying to do my trick. Hang on.
People are saying Jessica Alba, too. What's your trick you're trying to do here, Sam?
You put your thumb over the face and just kind of try and look at the
hair.
look at the outside
All
without
right. We're getting Zach Braff, Cillian Murphy, John Mayer.
John Mayer. Robert Downey Jr., Nick Cage.
Zach
No, it's
Braff.
not either one of those.
Zach Braff is from Scrubs, right?
I have no idea. We got to make a decision here. Are we going with Zach Braff or Hugh Grant?
Now that I'm thinking if Zach Braff is the dude from Scrubs, then I kind of see Zach Braff.
All right, well, let's do it. Why not? All right, we're going with, who are we going with? Rose Byrne?
Rose Byrne and Zach Braff.
And Zach Braff. Boom!
Oh!
Oh! Oh!
That was the hardest. Rose
I cannot believe we got it right. Look at the chat. What a day from the chat.
Let's see what we can get on Rose Byrne here. I know who she is.
I never would have thought that was her, though. That doesn't really look like her to me still.
I know who she is.
I really thought it was Salma Hayek. I'm going to be honest. And then I saw I got Kate Winslet in my head. And I don't. Wow. Hey.
What do I know Rose Byrne from the most?
Bridesmaids, maybe?
I don't think so. I feel like I've watched something recently with her.
Insidious?
Definitely not that one for me. This is going to drive me insane. I feel like I watched a recent movie with Rose Byrne.
I'm beside myself. That was one of the hardest celebrity mashups ever. And I think it's because Rose Byrne looks like
so many people.
Like there were legitimately like 4 different women that I could see that face being. And every time I looked at it from that lens, I was like, yeah, that is Salma Hayek. Yeah, no, that is Kate Winslet. That is. So that was, hey. Oh, she was in Star Wars, says Jeff. So maybe that's it.
That's not what I don't watch Star Wars. I'm not going to figure it out. It's going to drive me insane.
Shout out to the chat really pulled through today, Austin, between this one, pulling that, and then the big get on
Neighbors.
What was it? It was the Che Guevara was a incredibly quick pull from the chat as well. So good job.
Oh, man, that was tough. All right. Hey, we did it though. We absolutely did it. So once again, we got Titan Game Day Live coming up here on Sunday. So make sure you check that out for me and Sam, for all of our great friends and partners, Adventure Science Center, Jarrett Fire, Chim Chimney, BetMGM, Mint Gaming Hall, the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry, and X Golf. So we'll have that for Sunday for Titans and Bucks. So get ready for that. But hey, we made it through that trivia. That was really brutal. So we survived though.
Somehow got a perfect score again.
That's
got
right.
All of them right.
That's right. Sam, Titans on the practice field today?
They are. Yep. I'll be out there, practice field, some locker room availability for the first time in a long time. So finally, first time since last week, Tuesday, that we'll have open locker room with the Titans. So.
All right. You'll be out there, Buck Live tonight for A to Z Sports Primetime. Make sure you like the show before you go. Hit that thumbs up button on Facebook and on YouTube. That helps us out and makes it go a long way. So we'll see you guys tomorrow on a Thursday. Appreciate it as always.